Hey guys, it's actually boiling in here and I've had to turn my AC off. So if at any point I start, you know what's up. But the noise would have actually driven everyone crazy. So I'm actually doing it for everyone's good. But I'm already absolutely losing my mind. So subscribe with the bell icon for engagement. Let's just get into it before I melt. Today we're talking about influencers influencing young and then their parents taking advantage of them. And I have two examples of this that happened somewhat recently. So we have Charli D'Amelio. Now, if you've lived under a rock, you don't know who Charli D'Amelio is. She has 160 million followers on TikTok. She blew up over the pandemic when she was about like 16, and she's had a fruitful career. Now, this is her dad. He's on almost 10 million followers, Mark D'Amelio, who made his career on the internet through his daughter, basically. They all just started posting content together. Heidi, her mum, also posted content, and obviously Dixie D'Amelio is Charli's sister. She tried to pivot into making music and that just never really worked out. Now, her dad is interesting. Like, they were rich before they started this career, but just not as rich as they are now, obviously. And he tries to use that point as like well, we already had money, so it like doesn't matter. It's like, you didn't have this kind of money, and the money you have now is bigger and also requires less effort from you than the money that you were making. So there is some controversy. I think in 2020 it came out that her dad had got a DUI driving with his kids around in the car, which is fab. This is by Distractify. Charli D'Amelio's dad had some trouble with the law. Yes, he had a DUI a few years ago, and apparently he was driving with both of them in the car. So he was driving drunk with Charli, who was 9 years old at the time, in the car, as well as 3 strangers whom he picked up at the bodega in the back seat. Okay, that's interesting. They then obviously had a reality show on Disney Plus called The D'Amelio Show. I don't know how many seasons. Oh, there are 3 seasons of it. And in the first season, at the end of the first season, it's Charli's 17th birthday. So she started when she was basically like, oh my God. So in 2021, she was 17. And so she started her career when she was about 16, which is insane. And this reality show, I mean, both of the daughters look a little bit miserable the whole time. I think a lot of controversy has come from this show as well. I think Dixie's brattiness was most from this show, and there was that scene with James Charles where she said it would be nice to hit 100 million a year after starting her TikTok page, and James made fun of her for it, and everyone basically claimed that she was a spoiled brat basically for wanting 100 million within a year. They also started a popcorn brand called Be Happy Snacks, and she's still on the branding, but apparently she has pulled out of that, which I'll talk about in a minute. So anyway, our flavors, they have sweet and salty, whatever, blah blah, who cares. Our story though, obviously the whole family with Dixie and Heidi and Mark. So welcome to Be Happy Snacks, where every bag is a celebration of joy, flavor, and togetherness. Born out of the D'Amelio family's love for creativity and passion. What's creativity and passion got to do with popcorn? For bringing people together, we're all about sparking joy and satisfying cravings with fun, flavor-blasted snacks that make your taste buds dance. Our mission, turn everyday snacking into an experience full of flavor and delight. I mean, this is just such let's just make money in whatever way we can. And there was actually a little bit of controversy with this because they were fake working in supermarkets for a bit to do promo for this. So Dixie and Charli would be scanning things at the till, and people were saying, why are you cosplaying working class people? And it obviously made them look even more entitled. And actually, looking back on it, I think Dixie and Charli didn't deserve most of the criticism that they got because they were children and their parents were pushing them into all these business ventures and telling them, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that, even though the parents didn't contribute to them building this platform to begin with. So she's obviously still on the branding on this website. However, People has just said, literally 20 days ago, that Charli D'Amelio has cut ties from family company amid rumored financial dispute. So she has severed her ties with her family's popcorn brand Be Happy Snacks. So people can confirm that the social media star, who's now 22 only, is no longer involved with the company, which was launched in 2023. So her parents Mark and Heidi are still part of the business. Charli's oldest sister Dixie last posted a TikTok video about the product in November 2025. So as of pretty recently, she's still involved with the brand. Apparently Dixie is on the parents' side still, she's still hanging out with them and stuff, whereas Charli's completely cut ties with both of her parents. So despite her exit from the brand, multiple photos of Charli still appear on the Be Happy Snacks website. I mean, she's literally the front page of it. There's no one else but Charli, for obvious reasons. She's the one that started this whole thing. So apparently people has reached out to D'Amelio's and Charli for comment. So this past weekend, reports began circling that the family members had a falling out, with some claiming that the feud was a result of a monetary dispute. For his part, Mark responded to the report reports in the comments of a Dumas post reporting on the dispute, which alleged that Charli had discovered that millions of dollars had been transferred out of accounts that were set up during the time period her career was managed by her parents, I'm assuming up until she was 18. No one called me for an interview, Mark wrote on May 30th. This is not true. We love Charli, but she is being manipulated and I have the receipts. Over the last 6 years, we have remained silent and never addressed gossip, but the time has come to set the record straight. When reached for comment by people after his comment, Mark added, there is nothing to say except the report is 100% not true. So the drama around this is that obviously they had apparently funneled millions of dollars that she earned in the time between she was 16 and 18, and apparently those funds have been moved out of her accounts. And now that she's 22, she has her own managers and her own lawyers and her own financial guys, and apparently they've now looked through her finances and said, hey, there's some money missing, do you know where it is? And allegedly her parents have taken it. Allegedly, though. Don't try and sue me. Don't get me involved. Anyway, what I found really weird was Charli D'Amelio was invited obviously to do Dancing with the Stars season 31. And then on the same season, her mum Heidi also joined. They were both on Dancing with the Stars at the same time. So apparently they've like made history as the first family members to compete against each other. And it was that competition's first season on Disney Plus, which makes sense because obviously they have a deal with Disney Plus for their show. So it made sense that when Dancing with the Stars was going to be on Disney Plus, they invited Charli to do it. But the fact that her mum is also doing it and stealing the spotlight, which she didn't steal the spotlight. Charli was amazing on Dancing with the Stars. But it is just interesting. Like, it's always a thing of getting involved in Charli's career in a way that is a little pushy. Now, apparently Dancing with the Stars almost caused a divorce between Heidi and Mark. So on the last season of the show, Mark basically kept on banging on about Heidi has no time for him anymore. They should spend more time together, do their date nights to keep building on like the good foundation that we have. I wish I would have been more supportive throughout the process because I know how important it was for you, Mark confesses. In a confessional interview, the dad basically said, Dancing with the Stars for me just created this huge shift in our family, which I wasn't prepared for. If I would have known what I know now, that like, dude, she wants her career. He continues, noting that Heidi probably wanted to do exactly what I've been doing over the last 20 years and start a business. And now looking at it, I'm like, dude, you just probably should have backed off a little bit and chilled and not burnt the house down. And obviously they almost like divorced over this. So if you're wondering what the Dumas post is, this is it. Sources allege that TikTok and Broadway star Charli D'Amelio discovered millions of dollars had been transferred out of accounts that were established during the years her career was managed by her parents. Insiders claim the transfers allegedly occurred over an extended period and involved funds that were intended for Charli's savings. So obviously the Coogan law doesn't apply to influencers yet. If you don't know what the Coogan law is, it's like if you're in Hollywood and you're a child actor or a child singer, I don't actually know if it applies for singers. Definitely actors though. You have a certain amount of your money that has to be put in like a fund for you, like a trust fund essentially. But I think it's only 15%, which I think is absolutely insane. Like if the whole family's living off this kid's salary, at least 50% would be nice. 15 is crazy. But this doesn't apply to influencers because it just doesn't. But I know there are some laws changing right now. I think actually Tennessee and Texas, one or the other or both, are doing essentially like a Coogan law for influencers, and that you have to pay your kids for the time ratio that they are in your videos on YouTube, which is why a lot of family channels, more specifically like family vloggers, are moving out of either Tennessee or Texas or both. One of them is doing this, and I actually think California probably did it as well. But yeah, there's like it's such uncharted territory. We've never been in this situation where anyone can become famous just posting a video from their phone. So the law is still a little bit behind, and the law is always behind. Like it's such a stuck in its ways sector of society that like we won't have these laws widespread for years or decades. But yeah, so apparently this was supposed to be Charli's savings, and most of it is being allegedly moved to different accounts. According to sources, Charli became aware of the situation after her parents were allegedly supposed to be removed from certain accounts. The matter is now reportedly in the hands of attorneys. Sources further alleged the dispute has caused major rift within the family, with Charli's sister Dixie D'Amelio reportedly siding with the parents, which no offense intended. Makes sense though why she would do that, because Dixie also rode on the coattails of Charli. Like Dixie would have never had a career if it wasn't for Charli. Dixie to me is in the same boat as Heidi and Mark, and anything she tried to do independently like music has flopped. So it absolutely makes sense why that has happened, and all allegations remain unverified. Now Mark has obviously said no one called me, I already read that out, and Dumas said please check your DMs, obviously I think asking for a statement. He did do a live about it on TikTok that I couldn't find anywhere but the Do We Know Them girlies, so I will try and just show you guys it from the Do We Know Them girlies.
In her DMs, famous pedophiles in her DMs that I had to address at Coachella. I always protected my daughter. And
well, that's your job.
Yeah, so he claims that because there are a lot of predatory men in Charli D'Amelio's comments that he protected her from, he's like basically saying, I protect my daughter. It's like it's the bare minimum for you as a dad to not allow pedophiles to be in your daughter's DMs, but that's just I don't think it proves anything. It doesn't prove that you've got like her best interest at heart. It's just like basic bare minimum parenting.
Person, and you guys know this Hollywood story, I'm going to be the scapegoat here, but it's just not happening, dude. I will defend my daughter. I don't give a shit. I have nothing to lose. The only thing I have to lose is my family, and I'm not going to lose my family. We're going to get Charli back.
Charli back.
So he does confirm that because obviously the Dumas post was saying that this is all alleged, right? So all allegations remain unverified, but apparently she's not in contact with her family. So now he's confirmed she's not in contact with the family because he wants her back. So it kind of confirms at least some of the story, right?
Really disturbing. Yep.
Yeah, but look, when we first came out here, everybody said, watch the team you put around you. And I'm an East Coast guy, I'm Italian. I trusted the fact that I thought people, if we paid them and treated them right, and dude, you don't know, like, I'm selling everything. Like, I don't care. I'll tell you what we paid everybody, what people made, how much we made, because I have nothing to hide. So, and we've seen this. I'm not saying that Charli is in a state of other people but you know, she hasn't reached out to me, and sometimes she's mad at me for something.
And so here I am on TikTok Live.
Oh, she's mad at me about something. What is it? And if she is not in contact with you and the allegations, so again, go back to the Dumas post. Sources allege that she is not talking to him anymore. So if he's confirming this half of the statement, it makes me think the first half of the statement might be true. So when you're thinking like, you know, Mark saying, oh, I don't know why she's not talking to me.
No, literally nothing. He's going in circles.
My time as a dad is trying to provide for my kids, give them the opportunity. I mean, dude, it's all there. Like, I have all the receipts from I gave my daughters everything I never had. And my mom is here, and she's in our house, and she's 89, and I have the friggin' most amazing mom. But we struggled, me, my mom, and my sister, and I gave my daughters everything I thought they wanted and needed.
This is such like typical parenting of, well, I put a roof over your head so I can do whatever the I want, and that's just not how it works.
So we had a guy working for us named I sent one, and this is what's really interesting. So we had a guy working for us named Gary Rosenthal, and he was a finance guy, and I was told by Charli's by our business manager, who, again, this guy made hundreds of thousands of dollars off of us every year, hundreds, and there are people that made millions off of us, or at least $1 million a year. And for some reason, and I'm not alleging there was any wrongdoing, but I had a GoDaddy account which has all the URLs and all the domain information to all of our emails, all private stuff, and it is all coded, and there's a 2-factor authentication. And yesterday, I had known this because these guys are so stupid that they didn't realize I can see all their emails. So the last day Gary Rosenthal worked for me, he took my passwords and he sent them to Charli's business manager. So I don't know. No, nothing. Just forwarded them. So yesterday I sent a note saying, hey guys, just want to know why you would send my private passwords as the day you're walking out the door as our business manager going to work for Charli, why you would need to send my passwords, which has D'AmelioFamily.com, all my .coms. Like, so that's just one thing. So if you guys have any questions.
What questions do I have about that? Yeah. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, why would I have?
Anyway, so he's talking about the passwords. I mean, again, this kind of links to the situation, right? The statement that was being made here. So apparently stuff's been transferred out of accounts, and this occurred over an extended period of time. And according to sources, Charli became aware of the situation after her parents were allegedly supposed to be removed from certain accounts that would link to the password. So again, he's kind of confirming like 90% of the statement, but then claiming that like the 10% isn't true. It's all starting to stink a little, isn't it? So Charli then posts this. She obviously looks really upset. She says, new YouTube video out now. Apparently it was a vlog and she didn't address anything in the vlog, but obviously she's posted that. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think this is all very stinky, and I think he gives me really bad vibes. But a similar situation to that is Addison Rae. So Addison Rae has 88 million followers, and she has obviously a bit of like a booming music career right now. And actually, I'm going to be one of those annoying people. Like, I listened to Diet Pepsi literally like a day after it came out, and I thought it was an absolute bop, and I wasn't even embarrassed to listen to it. And then she's came out with like banger after banger, so I was there first. That's all I'm going to say. I'm like one of those annoying people. I'm like, I was there first, guys. I like started this trend. Anyway, her parents were obviously in a lot of her content while she was doing all of that. You know, people made fun of it, how her mum was in like thirst traps with her, and her dad would be in the videos with them, and her little brother and stuff. And I don't know, it's whatever. So her mum's obviously called Sherry. She has 13.1 million followers, and her dad is obviously called Monty Lopez, and he's on 5 million followers. And he's an absolute nut job. There is actually something wrong with him. Anyway, there was like a period of time where her mum was making like thirst traps on the internet, mainly when people were doing like the Cardi B WAP dance situation. That was like a big one that blew up, and people were just saying like it's all a bit weird and a bit inappropriate. Anyway, her parents then separate, okay? Her mum then starts making content with Young Gravy, and apparently they're dating. It's all a bit weird. It's all a bit awkward and uncomfortable. I found that whole segment of whatever, like I just found that all really weird. And at the same time, I'll get into that in a minute, her dad was being an absolute like lunatic, okay? So I think like her mum slipped under the radar a little bit with weirdness because her dad was getting so much heat.
From Addison, like I think that she was more just mad at her dad for being such a fucking weirdo. I don't know if you also have a diss track.
He made a diss track.
He made a diss track.
Yeah, I
about
did
that.
see that. I did see that. You want to know the funny thing about it is we have had a ton of experience with him. I mean, not a ton, but I mean we've had a bunch of run-ins with.
That's the way to put it, and take that as literal as possible.
Bro,
I'll be pulling out of a parking garage, and he runs up to my window and is like, "Yo, what's up?" And like, you know, Monty's always been. I won't use the word cool. I'll use the word enthusiastic, and I appreciate enthusiasm. You know, and then when specifically.
Right. Now, if we go on Monty's content, most of his top content is obviously with Addison Rae in it.
So thankful. It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. Fuck them.
So this is obviously the beef that he had with Sherry on the internet, if you can call it that. Like, imagine you're famous on the internet and your parents are having internet beef. I would have to launch myself off a building because that is dreadful. When you're dating 20-year-olds, and obviously he's saying it's a problem when I do it, not a problem when you do it. Sherry was dating Young Gravy. It was a whole thing.
Can I get a
When Young Gravy won't accept a boxing match, and Tanama just said, I'm calling the police. Yeah, same. Anyway, since then, her mum has remarried, and Addison Rae was at the wedding. There's a picture of them, obviously, from the wedding. Really happy for her. Happy that she's not dating Young Gravy anymore because that was all very weird. But her dad has just completely like lost his mind. He's now also like calling girls to chat with, and it's all just so like sad. Like he's just like that typical sad old man. Like he would be in all these LA clubs that all the influencers go to, and he'd be with a bunch of weird, not weird girls, like he'd be weird with a bunch of girls, and oh, it's just weird.
Watching a show, but
oh my god, if that was my dad, I'd actually not be okay mentally. He then meets a young girl and gets married within 2 weeks of knowing her, and he's also been arrested. So he was arrested for exposing himself in his home state of Louisiana, according to court documents obtained by TMZ. So he was arrested in July and charged for allegedly exposing himself, and this was in Feb. So he was exposing his genitals and pubic hair in a public place, or place open to public view, or in any prison or jail with the intent of arousing sexual desire, or which appealed to the prurient interest or was patently offensive per the documents. The alleged incident, to which Lopez had pleaded not guilty, occurred nearly a year earlier in August 2024. According to the records obtained by TMZ, his next hearing is scheduled for March 19th, and prosecutors have recommended a year of hard labor. Wow. Fab. He also claims that his estranged wife pulled a gun on him ahead of his arrest for possession. So Addison Rae's dad, Monty Lopez, has claimed that his estranged wife, Caitlin Lopez, pulled a gun on him prior to his arrest for felony marijuana possession. So Monty has asked the court to grant him an order of protection against Caitlin after she allegedly physically attacked him multiple times throughout their relationship. He claimed that Caitlin slapped and shoved him, and at one point pulled out a gun and told him it was not her. And then he was also arrested for possession of marijuana. I don't know how much or in what state. This was obviously some states allow it. Us Weekly confirmed via the Lafayette Police Department online records that Monty was booked Tuesday, April 28th for a felony charge of possession with intent to distribute marijuana. Interesting. And days before his arrest, TMZ reported that authorities were called to Monty's home on April 23rd. A rep for the Lafayette Police Department told the outlet that officers visited the home after receiving a mental health complaint. He's having wellness checks done on him, guys. This is not right. This incident reportedly turned into a criminal investigation, which may have led to Lopez's arrest, according to the outlet. Now, Addison Rae in all of this has a really good, like, booming music career. Obviously, I can't play any of the songs and stuff, but she's performed at Coachella. She's an opening act for a lot of different big artists, and she's doing really well. I know she gets a lot of shit on the internet. I actually think her music's really good. Like, most of the songs are amazing. And she's got, like, a really good vibe. Vibe's not the word I'm looking for. Like, a really good... It's not a character that she's playing. I don't know what word. It's so hot in here. My brain has just ceased to exist. No, stop. Anyway, both seem to basically not be in contact with most of their family. So I think Addison Rae is still in contact with her mum. She obviously went to her wedding. I don't know what's happened since then. Charli's not talking to anyone. Both of these girls I feel like have been exploited by their families for being successful at a young age, and we've seen that over the decades in Hollywood. I mean, Britney Spears is a great example of that, and that didn't end very well. So I'm glad that these girls are cutting their families off before it gets nasty, because you could end up in a situation like Britney Spears when you're in a conservatorship and all your money's being funneled out of your accounts and you're allegedly being like drugged and medicated against your will, allegedly though. So yeah, I would never want obviously that ending for these girls, but it's interesting how social media is moving in what direction it's moving in, because I feel like Hollywood has become like a bit of a side character, and social media is the main character, and social media is now basically following in Hollywood's footsteps, but not in the best ways, like in all the wrong ways. So anyway, you guys let me know what you think. Subscribe, hit the bell icon for engagement, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.